The red carpet stretched like a bright ribbon across the quiet street in Lekki. Cameras flashed. Laughter floated in the warm Lagos air. Men in sharp suits raised glasses of wine. Women in fine lace and jewel whispered, ready to watch a show. At the center of it all stood Nicholas' new suit, fresh smile, pride sitting on his shoulders like a crown. He waved at his friends and turned toward the gate as a black Bentley rolled to a stop. Two security men in black suits and sunglasses stepped out first. They moved with calm power, clearing a path. When they opened the rear door, the world around the mansion seemed to pause. Sonia stepped out. Her gold gown glowed under the lights. Her jewelry caught the sun and threw it back in tiny sparks. The two security men guided her onto the red carpet. People who didn't know her gasped at her grace. People who did know her stopped clapping and forgot to breathe. Less than 2 days ago, she had left a small bungalow in Oshodi with a single bag. Now she looked like a queen. Nicholas's smile fell off his face. For a heartbeat, the street was quiet. Then the whispers started. "Is that Sonia? How? What happened?" Sonia kept moving, steady and calm. Each slow step said, "I am not the same woman you threw away." She stopped right in front of Nicholas. He tried to speak, but no words came out. His hand shook as he reached for hers. She took his hand and held it firmly, her eyes clear and steady. "Hello, Nicholas," she said. "How did you—" Sonia's lips curved into the smallest smile. "Do you really want to know?" His throat moved. He couldn't answer. Everyone leaned in, hungry for the truth. Sonia drew a quiet breath, as if she was about to pull the ground from under his feet. "I owned the entire estate," she said. The street erupted shouts, gasps, a dropped wine glass, the sharp crack echoing through the air. Nicholas froze, like someone had pressed pause on him. Sonia didn't blink, and just as the questions rose like a wave, the story rolled back to where it began. It started in the middle of the night in Oshodi. The house was dark. The fan clicked, slow and tired. Sonia sat on the old couch, trying to read a small devotional, the one with the faded cover. She was not sleeping. Sleep hadn't visited much in those days. When the front door opened and Nicholas walked in, the air shifted. He didn't say, "Good night." He didn't even look tired. He looked excited, like he had swallowed the moon. He pulled a chair, sat across from her, and slid a brown envelope onto the center table. "Sign," he said. Sonia looked at the envelope, then at his face. "What is this?" "Divorce." The word hit the room like cold rain. Sonia swallowed. "Nicholas, what are you saying?" "I'm done, Sonia," he said, his voice flat. "We've been married 5 years, no child, no progress. I can't keep feeding a liability." She felt that word stab her. Liability. She had cooked, she had cleaned. She had sold jewelry pieces online to support them when he couldn't find a job. She had prayed, she had hoped, she had trusted. But the word sat on the table like a stone. "A liability?" she whispered. Nicholas leaned back. "Things have changed. I won big at the casino. I put a deposit on a house in Lekki. A real house. In an estate. Sonia, I can't carry you into that new life. You don't fit. We're different now." Her heart cracked, but her voice stayed soft. "I am your wife." He pushed the pen across the envelope. "Sign. We're done." Her eyes burned. The room blurred. She remembered the day she said, "I do." She remembered laughing with him in the rain, their tiny wedding reception, the dreams they said out loud. She remembered the nights they held hands and prayed for a child. She remembered all the small kindnesses that are the secret bones of a marriage. Then she looked at his eyes and saw no space for her. Her hand shook as she signed. She was not signing because she agreed. She was signing because she had no power to stay. Nicholas stuffed the papers back in the envelope and stood. "You can leave tonight," he said, almost gentle, like he didn't want to be the bad guy. "I've already packed your bag." He pointed at a small travel bag sitting by the door. It was the same bag she used when she visited her friend Annie once. The same bag that could only hold a few days of clothes and that little devotional. "Nicholas," her voice broke. "Please don't do this." He opened the door. Cool night air crawled in. "We're done." She walked out into the night, bare feet, trembling hands, the streets quiet and wet from a late shower of rain. She didn't look back. If she looked back, she would fall to the ground and beg, and she didn't want to be that woman. She called Annie. "Come." Annie said at once. I'm coming downstairs. You're not alone. The reason creed ever move. Sonia slept on Annie's couch with the sound of cars far away and hope even farther. She lay on her side, holding a pillow like a shield, staring at the wall until morning found her. At dawn, her phone rang. This is Barrister Henry, the voice said, smooth and formal. I work with Builders State Company. Are you Sonia, daughter of Mr. Chukwemeka? Sonia sat up. Yes, I am. I'm calling about your late father's investments, he said. Years ago, he invested in our company. He kept it private. He left clear instructions that you, as his only daughter, are the heir. The estate is large. We only sold one of the 200 duplexes to raise funds for renovation and complete the transfer. If you do not like the buyer, we can revoke the sale by tomorrow. Please, can you come to our office this morning? We want to hand over the management and documents to you. You may retain the current management, if you wish. They have done well for 10 years. Sonia gripped the phone. Her mind felt light, like she might float out of the room. Sir, are you sure you have the right person? Yes, Miss Sonia, the barrister said kindly. Please come. Bring any ID you have. Okay, she whispered. I'm coming. Annie sprang from the kitchen when Sonia told her. She squealed, hugged her, then pulled back with shining eyes. Your morning has come, Sonia. At the office, everything was real. The letterhead, the files, the photos, the map of the estate with its wide roads and rows of white houses, the stamped documents, the keys, the signatures, Barrister Henry's voice steady and clear, Sonia's hand steady and sure. She signed, not as someone being pushed out, but as someone finally being called in. They drove her to the place, Lecky sun bright on the roofs, palm trees waving like ushers, welcoming a bride. The gate opened. The sign said, Green Valley Estate. Her mansion. Her driver pulled up to a wide driveway. A personal assistant stepped forward, smiling. Behind them, covered in a soft shine, waited a brand new Bentley. Sonia climbed the steps and touched the doorbell like it might sing. Inside, the air smelled new, clean paint, fresh wood, quiet money. She walked through the rooms, fingers brushing marble, eyes drinking chandeliers, feet soft on pure rugs. She stood by the tall window, and for the first time in a long time, she cried not the sharp cry of loss, but the deep, shaking cry of someone finally seen. She tilted her face up and whispered, Daddy, thank you. Mummy, I never saw your face, but I know you see me now. Her phone buzzed. The name that flashed on the screen chilled her and made her smile at the same time. Nicholas. She answered. Hi, Sonia, he said, smooth again, like the night had never happened. I'm doing a housewarming tomorrow morning. Number 7, Green Valley Estate. Come and see how life has changed for me. Her eyes fell to the estate map on the table. Number 7. She remembered what Barrister Henry had said. One duplex sold, the rest hers. If she didn't like the buyer, the sale could be revoked by tomorrow. Her heart was steady. Her voice was calm. I will be there. After the call, she stood very still. She could end his fantasy with one phone call. She could cancel the sale, send him out, and laugh while doing it. But something inside her said no. Let him see. Let him come. Let the stage be set. Let the truth arrive like a sunrise. No curtain can stop. That night, the mansion felt warm and watched over. Sonia tried on her gold gown. It hugged her like a promise. The PA laid out the jewelry. The security team reviewed the plan. It was not about revenge. It was about showing up as the woman she already was. Morning came bright and bold. At number 7, the red carpet lay in front like a dare. Friends and family waited for drama. Glasses raised, phones ready, songs whispered. Nicholas stood by the door, chest out, smile fixed. The Bentley glided to a stop. Security opened the door. Sonia stepped out. Silence fell. Then the whispers broke into little storms. Nicholas's face drained. She walked to him, every step slow and perfect. She stopped. She shook his hand. She met his eyes, and for the first time he looked small. How did you? He tried. Sonia held his gaze. Do you really want to know? The air trembled. I owned the entire estate, she said. Gasps exploded. A glass hit the ground and shattered. Somewhere, a phone fell and kept recording the sky. Nicholas's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Sonia leaned in, just enough for him to hear the next words. And we stop here. The crowd outside Nicholas's new mansion still buzzed like bees after Sonia's words. Glasses of wine hung halfway to lips. Women clutched their geely tighter, whispering into each other's ears. Men with folded arms tilted their heads, waiting for Nicholas to speak. But Nicholas's lips only trembled. Sonia didn't give him the chance. She tightened her grip on his hand and leaned closer so only he could hear. "You threw me out 2 nights ago because you thought a casino win made you a king," she whispered, her voice steady and sharp. "You told me I didn't fit into your new life. But look around. Nicholas, this estate is my life. Every house here, except this one you bought, belongs to me." Nicholas's knees almost buckled. He tried to laugh, to brush it off, but the sound stuck in his throat. "Impossible," he muttered. Sonia, you're lying." Sonia let go of his hand and turned toward the crowd. Her voice rose, clear as a bell. "Yes, I am the owner of Green Valley Estate. Every duplex, every street, every stone in this place belongs to me. You all came here today expecting to see me shamed. Instead, you're standing on my property." The guests erupted. Some gasped, others clapped nervously, unsure what to believe. Phones flashed as people recorded videos that would soon flood social media. Nicholas's mother, seated at the front, stood quickly. "Sonia, don't bring drama here. Stop this nonsense. My son worked hard for this house." Sonia's eyes softened, but her words cut. "Mama, you watched me suffer in silence for years. You never defended me. Tonight, you should thank your son's foolishness, because it led him here, where he can finally see what he lost." Nicholas felt the weight of 100 eyes pressing into him. His friends, the same ones who cheered him at the casino, were already edging away, murmuring. His uncles looked at the ground, embarrassed. The celebration was collapsing like a tent in a storm. Sonia raised her hand slightly, and her 2 security men stepped forward. One of them pulled a black leather folder from his inner pocket. He handed it to Sonia. She opened it and lifted a set of documents high. "These are the ownership papers," she said, "stamped and signed. Green Valley Estate is mine. Barrister Henry will confirm this to anyone who doubts. And as for this house," she paused, her eyes locking on Nicholas, "the agreement says I can revoke your purchase and refund you in full. With one call, you could be out on the street." The crowd gasped again, louder this time. Nicholas's jaw dropped, sweat dotted his forehead. He looked around, searching for anyone to defend him, but everyone stared back with pity or quiet satisfaction. Sonia snapped the folder shut and handed it back to her guard. Then, with a graceful smile, she stepped closer to Nicholas and lowered her voice. "But I won't do that. I want you to stay. I want you to wake up every morning, walk outside, and remember that the woman you threw away is the one who owns the ground under your feet." She patted his shoulder lightly, like a queen dismissing a servant, and turned to leave. The Bentleys' door was opened. Sonia's gown shimmered as she walked away. The whispers followed her until she vanished behind the tinted glass. Nicholas remained frozen on the red carpet, hand still hanging where she had touched him. Slowly, the guests began to drift off. One after another, they excused themselves until only a few stragglers remained. Even the caterers packed their trays quietly, their faces filled with shame. By the time the sun dipped lower, Nicholas stood alone at the gate of his mansion. The ribbon meant for the housewarming still fluttered in the breeze. Untouched, inside his chest, pride crumbled like old bread. But this was only the beginning, because while Nicholas wrestled with his shame, Sonia's life was about to open a new chapter. And the man she would soon meet, Sam, one of the most powerful CEOs in Lagos, was about to change her story forever. The days after the housewarming became a storm Nicholas never saw coming. Clips of Sonia stepping out of her Bentley flooded WhatsApp groups, Instagram pages, and Twitter feeds. The caption under most of the videos was the same. The woman he threw out owned the whole estate. Nicholas could not walk through the estate without whispers following him. His friends stopped answering his calls. Even his boss at work avoided him. Shame pressed down like a heavy blanket he couldn't throw off. But while Nicholas drowned in embarrassment, Sonia's life was rising like the morning Sunday. One Saturday morning, Sonia sat in her living room, Amelia lace curtains swaying gently in the breeze. She had just finished signing some management documents when her personal assistant walked in. "Ma," he said softly, "you have a visitor." "Who is it?" Sonia asked. The man smiled. Sam Obadike. Sonia's pen slipped slightly from her hand. She had heard the name before. Sam was not just a CEO, he was one of the wealthiest oil magnates in Lagos. His face was often on TV. His businesses spread across Nigeria and beyond. People said he was cold, focused, and untouchable. Why was he here? Let him in, she said. Moments later, Sam stepped into the living room. He was tall, dark-skinned, with neatly trimmed hair and a presence that filled the room. He wore a simple navy blue kaftan, but on him it looked more expensive than gold. Sonia rose to greet him, unsure what words would fit. "Good morning, Mr. Obadike. Please, call me Sam," he said warmly, shaking her hand. His palm was firm, his smile calm. "I wanted to meet the woman everyone in Lagos is talking about." Sonia blinked. "You came all the way here for that?" He chuckled softly. "Not just for that. Green Valley is now the most valuable estate in the city, and I wanted to congratulate its owner personally. You've handled your story with so much grace. Most people would have destroyed Nicholas immediately, but you didn't. That says a lot." Her heart softened at the kindness in his tone. For so long she had been treated as less. Now, here was a man of power, seeing her as more. They spoke for nearly an hour. At first, it was about business, the estate's management, potential expansions, investments. But soon, the conversation turned personal. Sam asked about her late father, her childhood, her dreams. Sonia found herself laughing easily, her shoulders lighter than they had been in years. When Sam finally stood to leave, he said, "There's an event next week at the Civic Center, a charity gala. Would you be my guest?" Sonia hesitated for a heartbeat. Then she smiled. "I'd love to." The gala night came like a dream. Sonia wore a deep emerald gown that shimmered under the lights, her hair swept neatly back, her jewelry glowing like stars. Sam arrived in a black tuxedo, his arm steady and strong as he escorted her into the hall. The moment they entered, all eyes turned. Cameras flashed, whispers rippled across the room. Many recognized Sonia from the viral videos, but now, standing beside one of the most powerful men in the country, she looked untouchable. Nicholas was there too. He had been invited by a friend, not knowing Sonia and Sam would attend together. When he saw them, his stomach tightened into a knot. He clenched his fists, watching as Sonia and Sam greeted governors, business moguls, and celebrities with ease. She belonged in this world now, and he did not. At one point, Sonia took the microphone to speak on behalf of a foundation she was supporting. Her voice was steady, her words moving. She spoke about building opportunities for young women, about never letting pain define your destiny. By the time she finished, the hall erupted in applause. Sam leaned close to her and whispered, "You were magnificent." Sonia felt warmth spread through her chest. For the first time in years, she believed it too. Outside the hall later that night, Nicholas waited in the shadows near the parking lot. He couldn't help himself. When Sonia and Sam walked out, hand in hand, his heart ached. He stepped forward, his voice breaking. "Sonia." She stopped. Sam turned, his eyes sharp, protective. Nicholas swallowed hard. His pride was gone, his voice trembling. "I'm sorry. I was blind. I didn't know." Sonia looked at him for a long moment, her face unreadable. Then she said softly, "You knew who I was, when I had nothing. And you called me a liability. That's all I needed to know." She turned away, stepping into the Bentley with Sam. The door closed. The car pulled away, leaving Nicholas standing alone under the harsh glow of the parking lights. That night, Sonia lay awake in her mansion, replaying the evening. Her life had shifted so suddenly, so dramatically. She had wealth, respect, and now the attention of a man who made her feel seen. But deep inside, a question stirred. Was Sam truly interested in her heart, or in the power her estate now carried? The answer would change everything. The weeks that followed the gala were like a whirlwind Sonia never wanted to end. Sam was no ordinary man everywhere they went together. Doors opened. His influence stretched far, yet what surprised Sonia most wasn't his wealth or power, but his heart. He wasn't just a billionaire CEO. He was thoughtful, funny in private, and patient. He asked Sonia about her scars, about her lonely childhood, about nights she went to bed hungry. He listened, really listened, in a way Nicholas never did. One evening, Sam took her to a quiet rooftop in Victoria Island. The Lagos skyline sparkled below. the ocean breeze soft against their faces. A table was set with candles, the city lights flickering like stars. "Sonia," Sam said, looking at her with a softness that almost broke her. "When I first heard about you, it was business. But the more time I spend with you, the more I realize it's not just business anymore. You're extraordinary." Sonia's breath caught. For years she had prayed for love, for someone who would see her beyond her weaknesses. She had stopped believing it was possible. Now, here was Sam, speaking the very words she longed to hear. Tears stung her eyes. "Sam, I don't know if I'm ready. My life has changed so suddenly. Sometimes I wake up and still think I'm that woman who left Oshodi with only one bag." Sam reached across the table and held her hand firmly. "You are not that woman anymore, and even if you were, I would still choose you." Her heart swelled, and for the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to hope again. But while Sonia's nights glowed brighter, Nicholas's days grew darker. His so-called friends stopped returning his calls. The debt he carried from years of reckless gambling pressed harder. He couldn't even enjoy the mansion anymore. Every time he stepped outside, he saw Sonia's security men patrolling the estate, reminders that he lived under her shadow. Worse still, his mother, who once praised him, now scolded him daily. "See what your greed has done, Nicholas. You drove away the woman who was your blessing, and now she is everything, while you are nothing." He would slam the door, but the words stayed. They burned, they ate, they made him desperate. 2 months later, Sonia stood in the grand hall of the Green Valley Event Center, wearing a white gown that shimmered like morning dew. Music filled the air, violins and drums blending into something magical. Guests filled the hall, governors, CEOs, celebrities, and neighbors. It was the wedding of the year, Sonia and Sam's wedding. Nicholas was there too. He wasn't invited, but he came anyway. He stood at the back, shoulders hunched, eyes fixed on Sonia as she walked down the aisle. Every step she took felt like a dagger in his chest. When Sam lifted her veil and kissed her, the hall erupted in cheers. But Nicholas turned away, tears blurring his eyes. His pride was gone, and bitterness filled the empty space. Marriage with Sam was everything Sonia had once dreamed of. They traveled together, built companies together, and laughed together. A year later, she gave birth to a baby girl named Amelia, whose first cry melted Sam's heart. Sonia often held Amelia close and whispered, "You will never feel what I felt. You will grow knowing love." But life has a way of circling back. One rainy afternoon, Sonia sat in her living room, cradling Amelia in her arms when her security man knocked. "Ma, there's someone here to see you," he said. "Who is it?" Sonia asked. The guard hesitated. "It's Nicholas." Sonia's heart jolted. She hadn't seen him up close since the wedding. "Bring him in." The door opened slowly, and Nicholas stepped inside. He looked nothing like the proud man who once threw her out. His suit was worn, his face thinner, his eyes hollow. He dropped to his knees the moment he saw her. "Sonia, please." His voice cracked. "I am finished. I owe the bank 10 million. I can't feed myself. I can't sleep. I came to beg you. Buy the house from me. Save me." Sonia looked at him long and hard. Memories rushed back the night he chased her into the streets, the word liability echoing in her ears. She looked at her baby, then at the man kneeling before her. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. "Nicholas, I will not buy the house from you, but I will do something else." "A dista." Nicholas lifted his head, confused, desperate. "What do you mean?" Sonia rose, holding Amelia gently in her arms. Her words were slow, deliberate. "I will pay your debt, and I will give you work in one of my new companies. Not because you deserve it, but because I want you to see me every day, to see what you lost, to remember your choices, and to know that the woman you once called a liability is now the one keeping you alive." She signaled her PA. A check was brought forward, 15 million naira. She placed it on the table in front of him. Nicholas's lips trembled as he reached for it, but his tears fell before his hands did. He pressed his face to the floor, unable to look at her. Sonia stood tall, rocking Amelia gently. "Stand up, Nicholas. You still have a chance to rebuild your life. But never forget you are living in my estate." The silence in the room was heavy, broken only by the soft coo of baby Amelia. And deep inside Sonia's chest, one thought echoed. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. The rain poured heavily on the glass walls of Sonia's living room, drumming a rhythm that seemed to echo the beating of her heart. She sat with Amelia on her lap, watching Nicholas across the room. He was still on his knees, clutching the check with trembling hands, his tears mixing with the sound of the rain. For a long while, Sonia said nothing. She simply rocked her baby and stared at the man who had once been her entire world. The man who had thrown her into the streets of Oshodi without mercy. The man who now sat at her feet, broken. "Stand up, Nicholas," she said quietly. He lifted his head slowly, his face wet with tears. "Sonia, I don't deserve this. I treated you like trash. I abandoned you. And now, you are everything. And I am nothing." Sonia's eyes softened, but her voice remained steady. "Yes, Nicholas, you broke me. But I chose to rise again. That is the difference between us. You used your wins to destroy. I used my pain to build." Nicholas swallowed hard, unable to meet her eyes. Sonia continued, "I will pay your debt. You will work in one of my new companies. But listen carefully, this is not charity. This is a reminder. Every day you will walk through my estate, and every day you will remember the choice you made when you called me a liability." Nicholas's chest heaved as the words sank deep. He nodded slowly. "I will not forget." Months passed. True to her word, Sonia helped Nicholas settle his debts and gave him a managerial role in one of her logistics firms. He worked quietly, humbly, keeping his head down. For the first time in years, he tasted the bitterness of regret, mixed with the sweetness of second chances. Sonia watched from afar. She saw the pride melt off him like wax under fire. She saw him arrive early to meetings, stay late to learn, and speak less than he used to. He was not the same man who once stood on a red carpet, ready to humiliate her, but Sonia never let herself forget either. Every time she saw him walk through Green Valley Estate, every time she passed his once celebrated duplex, now stripped of pride, she remembered the night he pushed her into darkness, and she whispered to herself, "Never again." One bright Sunday afternoon, Green Valley buzzed with excitement. Sonia and Sam were hosting a community event at the estate's event center, giving scholarships to children from poor homes. The place was filled with laughter, dancing, and the smell of jollof rice. Sonia stood on stage, her baby Amelia in Sam's arms, as she gave her speech. "I was once a woman with nothing," she told the crowd, her voice firm. "I was told I was a burden, a liability. But look around you, every person here matters. Every child here has a future. Never let anyone tell you that you are less than what God created you to be." The crowd erupted in applause. Sam kissed Amelia's forehead, pride written all over his face. At the back of the hall, Nicholas clapped too. His eyes were wet, but not with bitterness this time, with something close to gratitude. He knew he had lost Sonia forever, but he had gained a second chance at dignity. Later that evening, as the sun painted the estate gold, Nicholas walked past Sonia's mansion. He paused at the gate, watching her sit with Sam and Amelia on the balcony, laughing freely. For the first time, he didn't feel anger or envy. He felt peace. He whispered into the breeze, "You won, Sonia, and I will never forget it." Inside, Sonia felt the wind brush her cheek. She held Amelia close and looked at Sam. Her life was not perfect, but it was whole. She had walked through betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak, only to rise stronger. She had been thrown out of a bungalow, only to return as the owner of an entire estate. And in that moment, Sonia knew this was her victory, not just over Nicholas, but over every voice that ever told her she was not enough. She looked out across the estate, her estate, and whispered, "Mommy, Daddy, I hope you can see me now. I made it." The wind carried her words into the night, as if the city itself bowed to her triumph. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.